Welcome to Elevate Your Life and Soul. I'm your host, Marla Kennedy, life coach, mama, and spiritual soul seeker. Each week, this podcast will bring you interviews, stories, and mentoring so you can truly know your value, know your worth, and elevate all areas of your life. Let's rise together. Welcome to episode 4. It's been an interesting start to the year. Like many Australians, my heart felt quite heavy, well, really heavy, to be honest, with the fires that have been raging and are still going in Australia. It's a really tough time and a really challenging thing that Australia is facing, such a huge tragedy. And it's hard to keep running a business and keep thinking about what you're going to do in your business when stuff like this is happening, because it's affecting everyone so deeply. I'm lucky to be in a place where I'm not affected by it personally, but I know people who have been, and just seeing all the wildlife that's been affected and everything that is going on right now, it's tough. So I thought today I would jump into a topic that kind of relates, and it's something that I think we all need a little bit more of and can really be inspiring, and that's kindness. And when thinking about the fires, I look at the good that's been happening around, and it's really important to think towards hope, to look towards hope and be hopeful and think about solutions. And there are some people out there who are doing really amazing stuff and who have made a huge impact. There's a couple in particular that I just really take my hat off, and I will link to them in the show notes. One of them is Lisa Messenger, who has just done some amazing work with Food Bank and just rallying people to take action rather than sitting at home feeling helpless. And gosh, I just am blown away by her leadership. And the other person is Celeste Barber, who has raised at this count $50 million. I mean, $50 million, that is incredible. And that is just, to me, that is leadership embodied. How she has just inspired people to donate and to give around the world, and she has just shared her heart, and through that she's created this massive ripple effect, and that is kindness. That is just so powerful and so inspiring, and it shows how people are rising up and what we can do, because we can do so much. And so to me, I feel really inspired and I feel really hopeful when I see this stuff, because it just shows what we can all do. And as Celeste mentioned, the donations that have been coming in for her fundraiser have been small donations just from everyday people, like a bit here, a bit there, and it's just added up. And it's really heartwarming. And so there's this book that I have read that I'm going to refer to a little bit in this episode today, because it's a great book. It's called Am I Being Kind by Michael J. Chase, and it talks about kindness, 7 choices of kindness, which I'm going to go into one of them today, which is all about living a life of kindness or unkindness. And when you think about kindness, you can think about it as giving unconditionally and never expecting anything in return. And it's just doing things from your heart. And it could be like an act of kindness, could be something like making a friend for a meal, or letting a car go in front of you in traffic. It can be something really, really small. It can be donating blood, or buying a coffee for a stranger, or donating money. So, donating to the fires right now is a really beautiful act of kindness and can really help those affected. And so I'd like to invite you today to do one act of kindness, and it can be big or small. It can literally be letting someone go in front of you in a line, and then take some time and in a couple of sentences journal on what you did and how it made you feel, and really feel into that feeling, because it raises your vibration, and performing these random acts of kindness can shift our energy and shift them from like a more negative energy into a more positive energy. And one thing I really love that Michael Chase says in his book is that instead of thinking of things as bad or as good, shift into thinking of things as unkind or kind. And I really love that, because to me, it reminds me to think of how I'm showing up towards others and what the impact I'm actually making on people if I'm being kind versus unkind. Whereas, I don't know, there's something about the idea of good versus bad that kind of makes it feel a little bit more set in stone and concrete and less malleable. And yeah, I invite you to try out that shift in language from unkind to kind. And it's just absolutely, kindness is a real pathway to happiness and joy. And it's proven that being kind can alter our brain chemistry and increase the levels of serotonin that make us feel more light and happy and at ease, and strengthen our immune system. And I mean, that's not that, as I said before, kindness is about doing things unconditionally, but it has these benefits for ourselves as well, which is amazing. And I know personally, when I do something that's really kind, I feel so much better, and I feel so much joy, and the gift of giving rather than receiving. I'm all about receiving and being open to receiving as well, because that allows amazing things to happen in your life. But the gift of giving without expectation is so powerful, and we can change your day. It can change your life and shape so many positive things to come from it. So I really invite you to think about how you can give more and how you can be kind. And it doesn't have to be giving things. It doesn't have to be giving money. And I really want to stress that, because sometimes you feel obligated to give money, and that, can be draining if you don't have a lot at the moment. And especially in, I'm inviting you to give to the charities and support these things. But if that's not in your budget right now, then there is no pressure. Instead, give a prayer, give a moment of silence, raise your vibration, and imagine sending out love and kindness and white light to all the people that need it, and help them in that way, support them in that way. There are meditations you can do that can definitely help. And that is a form of kindness. That is a form of giving. And it's so important and such a beautiful thing to do. So yeah, I really invite you to do that if that is another way that you would prefer to be kind. And there are three elements of kindness. There's kindness to self, kindness to others, and kindness to the earth. So ask yourself as well, how am I being kind to myself? What am I doing? And kindness to self is a form of self-love. So you can look at what your actions you're doing. Like, what are you eating? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you saying kind things to yourself? What is your self-talk like? Are you being positive and saying, I really love you, you look really beautiful today? Or are you belittling yourself and putting yourself down? Because that's not kind. And I invite you to look at that and ask yourself that question. And set a reminder in your calendar. The reminder can be so simple. It can be, am I being kind? Which is the title of the book as well. And by being kind, by having that reminder, set it a few times a day just to check in, drop in. Am I being kind? Am I being kind to myself? Am I being kind to others? Am I being kind to the earth? Being kind to others can look like some of the examples I previously gave. It can be being patient with your little one if you're a parent and they're testing you, they're constantly asking you questions. Am I being kind to them? Am I being patient? Am I helping someone who needs a little bit of extra help today? Am I not beeping at the person in the car in front of me because they're driving not as fast as I would like them to be and I'm in a hurry? Patience. It's a really beautiful way of being kind. Am I being kind to the earth? How can you be a little bit kinder to the earth? And I am a huge believer that we get to really be patient with each other, and there are so many things we can do for the planet. Of course, use less plastic and have metal straws, that kind of thing, but be where you're at. I don't believe in preaching to people and criticizing them for what they're not doing either. So yes, some people are vegan and that's amazing, and I'm not vegan, and I eat less meat sometimes, and for a long period of time before I was pregnant I cut out beef, and that was one way that I felt like I could do something to help the planet. And currently I haven't cut it out, but that's not to say I won't again. But then I tend to eat 4 vegetarian meals a week, and that's a little step that I take. And I love sparkling water, so instead of buying plastic bottles, which I used to do, I now have a soda stream so that I can do it at home. So just do one thing. Find one thing that you can do for the earth. Pick up 5 pieces of litter at the beach if you see some rubbish. And be gentle with each other. Celebrate what you're doing. Celebrate what other people are doing, rather than criticizing, rather than telling them what they're doing wrong, because that's not kind, and that just makes people feel shame and experience guilt for what they're not doing. And I truly believe what you focus on expands. So when you focus on all the negative things that other people are doing, you're bringing that energy up and making that energy more powerful. So celebrate what people are doing. Celebrate what you're doing and give yourself credit for that. Rise each other up. Share the positive, empowering stories, and more of that will expand. And I hope that resonates with you. It's something that I really try and tune into every day, and I'd love you to share with me what you are doing and how it's helping, what impact you're making, and how it feels to try on being kind to yourself as well, because it really matters. Your actions every day, your simple little things you do, you may not think they matter, but they all have an effect and an impact. It has that ripple effect. And 3 simple things. If you're experiencing suffering or pain or feeling really down right now, think kind thoughts about yourself and others to start, and then speak kind words about yourself and others, and act in kind ways towards yourself and others. Those are 3 things you can do. Think, speak, act kindly. And this is an antidote to depression, fear, anxiety, hatred, resentment, being judgmental, and all those other negative emotions. And if it seems unrealistic, if that seems like too much, maybe it feels a little bit too Pollyanna-ish, which I love that movie. I haven't watched it for years, but it always seemed over the top, but also a real reminder to think, speak, and act more kindly and more positively and in a more uplifting way. But think about this. Can you think, speak, and act kindly and negatively and feel bad in the same moment? Because when I try and think kindly and negatively at the same time, it feels impossible to me. Like those two things can't coexist. So just try and raise the level a little bit. And just practice this. And if you fall down, if you feel like you've been unkind, check in and just do something else to do something kind in that moment when you've checked in, and forgive yourself. Like, being kind to yourself is forgiveness. And I spoke about forgiveness in the last episode. So if you haven't already had a listen, go back and listen to that, because there's a powerful, powerful forgiveness practice that I share that it's a game changer. It was really transformative in my life and healed some really big relationships that were like non-existent at the time. So forgiveness is a really powerful exercise, and it is being kind to yourself. It's just so powerful, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to leave it there today, and I really, really hope that this has been useful for you, and I'd love to you to share how you're being kind and what you're doing and how it makes you feel. Tune into that, and tune into that feeling in your body, and let it vibrate through and radiate outwards, because what we feel attracts more of that feeling. So if you're feeling joy from the kindness that you've done, if it's something really simple like letting someone in front of you in a line, tune into that feeling of like the gratitude that the other person felt and how it made you feel. And please, please, please share with me how you are being kind to yourself, to others, to the earth. And I will be sharing more about what I felt in kindness. And you can join me on Instagram. I have a new Instagram for the podcast at Elevate Your Life and Soul. So share with me there what you're doing to be kind. And I want to say thank you. As well, one thing that I'm doing is with my self-care program that is launching in February. Early Bird is out now, and I decided I was going to donate $10 from every sale to the bushfires. I've now decided to increase that to $20, and I will include the link. So if you feel called to join that, it's going to be a really amazing space, and it's another way. If you're a mama, it's a beautiful way for you to be kind to yourself and cherish you. And there's daily self-care prompts in there which are amazing, and we'll go into ways you can take care of yourself. But the thing that I'm really excited about is the weekly calls. These are a chance for you to create support for yourself, to be heard, to be seen, to be listened to, and I would love to support you in there. So come join us. Anyway, thank you for listening today. I am wishing you so much kindness in your life, and just remember, know your value, know your worth. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you like it, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you love this episode, please give it an honest review on iTunes and let me know what you loved and what you want more of. Your feedback helps me truly elevate the show into something that really serves you and allows me to keep pouring my heart and soul into it. This is for you. Let's rise together. And remember, know your value, know your worth. I love you, beautiful soul.